Okay, I think what I need to do is just start this because otherwise I'm never going to and I'll edit it later. Yeah. Time as a concept is something that I have struggled with for a while. My entire life, probably. I have a poor concept of time. Conceptualization concept. I don't know. But yeah, I think I have a rather poor concept of time and time management. Something that I have struggled with, like, pretty much my entire life. My whole family kind of has this thing where we're chronically late. Like, when I was a kid and we needed to leave the house to go somewhere, we would always, like, tell ourselves that we were gonna leave 30 minutes before we actually needed to leave, just, you know, to make sure that we weren't late. Because every single time, without fail, we would leave the house 30 minutes after we said we were going to leave. And that's just how it was. And, like, I've never been late to school or a job. Anytime I need to be somewhere important, like going to school or going to a job interview or a job, if I have to show up on time for my job, I'm gonna be on time. I'm never late to things like that. But, like, leaving for a vacation, unless it's like a flight or something that's scheduled, but if it's just like a road trip or something, I'm always like, I leave up to 30 minutes later than I said I was going to leave. And that's just the way that it's been, and I think part of it has to do with the way that my brain works. My wife is very, very punctual. She's not happy if we're going to be even a minute late somewhere. I don't know, I think that's kind of funny. And it's definitely made me a bit more punctual to things, a bit more conscious of time when I'm gonna need to be somewhere. But yeah, time and time management is something that I struggle with a lot. This particular painting that I'm playing in the background, I started painting this in October. During Inktober, shortly after I had come up with this character, and I realized I haven't actually shown her on my art channel yet, but if you follow my Instagram, you'll have seen her. She's the clock girl from the prompt day, whatever, the day of the Inktober prompts that was clock. And to incorporate clock into my prompts, I just made a little character with a clock as a face instead of, you know, a normal person face, because I thought that was interesting, and she kind of fits into my world of the girl with a bear body and my, like, the body of a bear, and my fox deer creatures and my witch character. And I've really grown to love this character. I think she fits in well with that world, and I don't know what I'm gonna do with that world, but I like it. It's whimsical. I like it. But anyway, I was saying that I started this painting back in October when I was still doing Inktober, and I think partially because of my poor time management skills, and also because when it comes to painting, I get easily frustrated, I guess, and if I'm frustrated with something, I don't want to work on it. So, like, I'll come up to a point where it's like, it's not looking good and it feels hard, and I know that I have to, like, really work on things to make it look good, and it's not easy like I want it to be, and so I just kind of step away and take a break. And because of that, I didn't actually finish this painting until January. That being said, I finished the painting in January, and now it's May, and here we are, and not even May. It's the end of May. It's the last day of May. This video isn't going to go out until June because I'm not going to finish editing this in less than a day, probably. It's already almost 5 o'clock. And all that is to say that I have trouble with time. I have trouble keeping track of time. I have trouble being on top of things and holding my schedule and holding myself accountable in a way that I can do my personal projects and like have that be done in time. And that's something that I need to work on, and that's something that we're not quite in the part of the year for New Year's resolutions. But I feel like that does go along a bit with the theme of this video, because this video was supposed to go out in January, and then because of my poor time management skills, it has not. I mean, a big thing was, like, in January I was like, okay, I'm gonna get all organized, I'm gonna start doing things on a schedule and working on things. But at the same time, I was also signing up with this temp agency. And so then, halfway through January, I actually started to get assignments from the temp agency. And I got one that was like, oh yeah, you're gonna be there for 2 or 3 days. And so I was like, great, I'll make a little money, I'll get out of the house, and then, when that's over, I'll get back to my super organized routine of actually doing things. And so then I did that. It was 2 days, and then the next 2 days I was like, well, I was just working, so I'm gonna take some time off. I'm gonna take some me time. But then before the end of the week, I got another call being like, hey, we've got another job that's gonna be 30 hours a week for, we don't know how long it's gonna be. And I was like, well, beggars can't be choosers. I need to make actual money right now, so sure, let's do it. And then when it's over, that's when I'll focus on my stuff. And that job ended up lasting 4 months, which, like, when I'm thinking about it, 4 months doesn't seem like a particularly long amount of time, but that took us from January, the beginning of the year, until May, which is like halfway through the year. And 4 months is very much less than half a year, but with the way that my brain works, now all of a sudden, we're almost into June. Oh my gosh, the year is half over and I haven't done anything. And I mean, yeah, I was working, I was making money, but I was being a receptionist. I wasn't doing anything particularly creatively fulfilling. And I mean, you're probably thinking to yourself, well, Arden, it was only 30 hours a week. You had plenty of time when you weren't at your job to do stuff. But with the way that my brain works around time, if I have one big chunk of my day that's taken up, I feel like I can't do anything else that day. And I know that's not how it actually works. I know that, I very well could have, I mean, for starters, I could have gotten up earlier. I could have, actually gotten out of bed at 7:30 and had an hour and a half to actually work on things outside of getting ready and going to my job that didn't start until 9:30 and was only a 10-minute drive away from my house. I could very well have done that, and I keep in my brain being like, yes, I'm gonna get up at 7:30, and so far that hasn't happened ever. But yeah, I could have done that, or the job ended at 4. I got home by 10 past 4. That's still a bunch of hours in the evening that I could have done stuff. But I would get home and just be so exhausted. I I would think I don't want to do anything. I was just at work interacting with people all day, and I just want to lie down. I just want to watch TV. I just want to watch YouTube videos. I just want to play World of Warcraft. Like, and you know, then day after day after day of that, 5 days a week for 4 months, that was my life. And that's sort of how things were by the end of my last full-time receptionist job 3 years ago. I would just, you know, I would wake up, I'd go to work, I'd come home, I'd be exhausted, I would just want to play video games for the rest of the night because I had just done work all day and I didn't want to work on other things. And so that's the big reason why I haven't put anything up on this channel, and I was going to just kind of sneakily dance around that, but you know, it's kind of obvious. I haven't put anything up on this channel for many, many months, and like, it shouldn't be a big deal because I am still a very small channel and I'm not making any money off of this channel, and I swear I've said that in a video before, but it still makes me feel bad that I haven't put anything out, even though I know, you know, very few people watch these videos, and like, I don't know, I feel like sometimes I get a little bit delusional about my influence online or whatever, because like, I don't know, I've been doing this online thing. I recently, a couple of months ago, passed my 10 years on YouTube. Not this channel, obviously, but my other channel that I'm currently using as a vlog channel. I started posting videos to that channel 10 years ago in March, which is kind of a milestone, and I was just so exhausted from working a day job at that point that I couldn't do anything to acknowledge it, and I don't know, it feels bad, man. It feels bad. So yeah, this has just sort of turned into like a ramble about my feelings and about time, and I don't know where I'm going with this. There's no moral to the story. I haven't found good time management skills, but I will say my temp job that was taking up most of my time and energy, mostly energy, let's be real, it was taking up like 100% of my energy, and I had no energy for anything else. But the temp job ended because I got another gig, and this is a bit more in line with the things that I want to be doing. I feel like I don't want to talk about it too much because I don't want to jinx it, but it's you know, but it is a work from home position, and it's doing like web design. I mean, not like, I don't have to like code or anything. I have to know a little bit of code. Knowing a little bit of code is helping. But this job, I've been doing it for 2 weeks now, and I really like it. And now that I'm working at home again and I have something that's more flexible, I really need to get on myself about time management. I need to not let this job take up all of my mental time. Because that's really what does end up happening, is that all of my, like, mentally all of my time is taken up by this thing that, yes, you know, it's gonna take up the majority of my time maybe, or, you know, half of my time, a large chunk of my time, but it shouldn't take up all of my time. And I need to make time for myself to do my own projects. And, you know, obviously I also still want time for video games because I'm addicted. But yeah, I think it's gonna be important going forward for me to manage my time better and to, like, break things up into smaller chunks. and to portion out, you know, this is when I'm gonna do this, and that's when I'm gonna do that. So I guess I'll talk a little bit about this painting that you've been watching me paint in the background. Yeah, so this is a portrait of my clock girl. I sort of wanted to do like a meta type of portrait, like it's a photograph of a portrait that she had painted. I sort of have in my head that she's like a princess of sorts, and so like everybody in her family needs to have some sort of a royal portrait thing, and I wanted it to look like it was, you know, a frame hanging on the wall. And yeah, I definitely went through a few phases of how this painting was going, and you know, in the end, I do like how it turned out. I think there are definitely some details I could have better rendered, but it turned out pretty good. It is interesting looking at your art from a couple of months ago. It's definitely different commenting on the process of something that you did a few months ago rather than something that you just painted. I'm really enjoying this character, and I haven't actually done anything with her. I haven't done much like drawing or sketching in the past few months. I did do like some doodles while I was working this receptionist position because I had a lot of downtime, and so I had like a doodle pad. And I did get some good ideas from doing that, but I didn't really work to flesh out this character or the world that she's from, unfortunately. And I do want to kind of get back into this world of, I have names for all of them, and I haven't even said them, but the bear girl's name is Lita, and the witch girl's name is Mirabelle, and this clock girl, I decided that her name is Heduk Amser, which is, I probably pronounced that horribly, but it's Welsh for timepiece, but peace is like, you know, peaceful. Yeah, and that name came from the suggestion of my friend Alexis. She said, you know, in her head the character's name was Timepiece, and I was like, well, let's do that, but let's make it less obvious, because I really liked that, and I like the name Heduk. Heduk. I don't know. It looks sort of like Hedwig, but it's not. Yeah. So this is Heduk, and she is a princess in whatever fantasy realm. I kind of based the idea of her actually off of the robot Blue Bloods from Saga, the characters with like the TVs for heads, and I had forgotten that, and I'm just remembering that now. But yeah, I kind of was inspired by that for her character. So it's basically this entire like royal line of people with clocks for faces. I know, super duper original when you know it's based off of a race of people with TVs for faces. But I still really like her, and I like the relationship that I've sort of made between her and Lita. It's a platonic relationship, because Heduk is a child. Like, she's probably 11 or 12, maybe. But yeah, I like the friendship that they've formed. So I hope that going forward I'll be able to do more of her, and I hope that by working on my time management skills, I will be able to. No, let's not even make that a hope. I will. I'm going to improve my time management skills, and I'm going to be able to work more on this and all my other personal stuff, and that's how it's going to be. I don't know. I do think, you know, it's very easy to say just, oh yeah, I'm going to work on my time management skills, but it's not, it's easier said than done. It's easier said than done. So, yeah, I guess if anybody has any tips for time management, I would appreciate that in the comments. I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing at all. And this has been a video. And thank you for watching. If you've made it this far through all of my ranting and rambling and unsureness, thank you. I really appreciate it. I think, I don't know what I think, but you're great. You guys are great. I guess, some small announcement. I did start a Patreon page, so I haven't really announced this anywhere else or publicized it, but I did start a Patreon page. I will leave the link below, and if you're interested, I would very much greatly appreciate your support. That would mean the world to me. And obviously I don't expect anyone to donate. Nobody is required to donate, but I would definitely appreciate it. It would help me out. Yeah, I think that's about it. Thank you again for watching. I know I already said that, but I just really, it means a lot to me. And I hope you liked this painting. I hope that I wasn't too boring in my ramble. Yeah, ending things is hard, so I'm just, bye. Wait, how do I turn this?